going to have camp battles, then, go ahead and have actual battles. Good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. We've been talking for a while on this program about all the various names that have been added into the bottom six equation by Kyle Dubas. I've been praising him left and right, never more so than when he made the trade with Winnipeg last week to bring Rutger McGroarty into the fold, because that added an element of competition to the top six as well. There should be competition up and down this roster. There should be an understanding, an awareness, and, oh, by the way, an expressing by all involved of the need to turn things around after missing the playoffs 2 years in a row. There needs to be an emphasis that this isn't something that we do here in Pittsburgh. This is not how the Penguins operate. We don't miss the playoffs here. Nor, by the way, do we enter them as a potential also-ran, as had been happening before that. Now, yeah, that's intangible. I get that. And I also get that it doesn't supersede that little detail of, having better players. But I do believe that it'd be a healthy rallying cry. That's got to come from Mike Sullivan. It's got to be echoed by the team's leadership, notably Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, Erik Karlsson, Lars Eller, Marcus Pettersson, everyone, but especially I think the core guys, the ones who've been around for a long time and who aren't used to missing the playoffs, they need to make that point. But that's just saying it. What I'd like to see occur in this camp, and I'm not a professional hockey coach to be able to set up how the drills would work and how the scrimmages would work and how all of that would dovetail with 6 preseason games and everything else. But I'd like to see an environment fostered in which the scrimmages, not just the preseason games, the scrimmages that are held in Cranberry are about as all out as you can get without being stupid. Now, does that mean dropping the gloves? No, because fighting's not really part of the game anymore. But does that mean showing a physical side? Does that mean doing what you got to do to get the puck? Does that mean displaying an edge that might actually benefit the team in a real NHL game? Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today, or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. I mean, look, I'll give you a little hypothetical here. Left-handed defenseman depth chart. You've got Pettersson. You've got Ryan Graves, mostly just because of the contract. You've got John Ludwig, Ryan Shea, Matt Grzelcyk's going to have a good chance, I think. And there are a few others. Let them show what you need them to show. Because if I'm being honest with you here, I'd love to see Ludwig win that job. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you love to see anybody on this team represent a physical presence? Whether it's up front or in the back or whatever. And specifically related to Ludwig, wouldn't you like to see him get a real chance at a real run at showing his NHL worth that doesn't get interrupted by an injury? Well, there's only one way for him to do that. Sure, he can do other stuff and he can show everyone that he can make a nice little breakout pass on the drill, but unless he's knocking somebody over, you're not going to get the full Ludwig experience, and you're not going to get the full awareness that you'd need to make the best possible decision. Let them go at each other. Make sure it's understood that you're not hitting 87 and 71 and so forth, but let them go at each other. These camps in recent years have been such non-events, so docile so passive, and that's in part because everyone's known who's making the team, and everyone's known who's not making the team. Well, not the case now. So let's see something different. Let's hear something different. Act like things need to change, because what's been tried of late has not worked. When we come back, J1Q. Today's J1Q comes from Mike, who says DK history is filled with 20-year-olds and younger goalies walking into the NHL and making an immediate impact. So why can't Sergei Murashov be the next one to do it? Mike, he can be. Let's remember that Matt Murray was 22 with not even really a full season of AHL experience when he raised the cup that night in San Jose. And let's also remember, on a similar note, that Murray was, and by the way, remains, a really wiry dude. So all of these frame discussions that I've been having of late, most of them regarding Braden Yeager, don't apply to that position. You can show up a toothpick and stay a toothpick and retire a toothpick. And yeah, and some of us are old enough to remember a baby-faced, teenaged Marc-Andre Fleury coming in and stoning the LA Kings on one magical opening night at the Civic Arena, offering everyone a sneak preview of what was to come over the next, 20 years or so. It's a different position. It requires a different mindset. It requires a different frame. And it most definitely requires a different approach to picking who it is that you want and who it is that you trust. Age isn't as big a factor for all of those reasons. Here's where I am with Murashov. I'm delighted that he's here. And by the way, he's literally here. He's working out every day on the ice with a handful of other Penguins camp participants up in Cranberry. And I'm delighted that he's in this mix and that he's in it right now. As things would appear, you have Tristan Jarry, Alex Nedeljkovic at the NHL level. You have Murashov and Joel Blomqvist splitting time or vying for time in Wilkes-Barre. That's a pretty nice situation. Goaltending is one place where you always want quantity in addition to quality. Out of 4 of them, you're going to get something. But I know what you're bringing up. You're bringing up the possibility that Murashov could be special. We don't know. If you look at the back of Murashov's figurative hockey card, what you'll see is that even though he had a .930, .940 save percentage in Russia, he's also had barely a handful of games at the top level, meaning their top level, the KHL. Now, I'm not going to get into comparing KHL to AHL, international rinks to North American rinks, the heavier emphasis on physicality in the North American game and how that affects goaltenders, how he is at fighting through that, how he is at seeing shots through traffic, because there's more of that in the North American game as well. It's actually a heavier emphasis than ever in the NHL. But I am going to restate my stance from the opening part of today's show, and that's that you got to try something different. You got to have an open mind. Don't be dumb about it. Don't lose assets over it. But the gamble that was taken in 2016 on a 22-year-old Murray was a championship gamble. One last time today, what they've been doing for 5 years, regardless of who's in charge, hasn't worked. Time to start, skating into the corners and breaking some eggs or I don't know. That's just a completely mangled metaphor. A great way to end the show today, though. Thanks for the cue. Thanks to everyone for listening.